Ow, ow, ow. Okay guys, welcome back to Aussie Motor Tips here on YouTube. And today, keeping it brief because there's not really anything mechanically going on. This is a review on a Vauxhall Zafira. Pretty much a workhorse kind of car. Yeah, Vauxhall Zafira 2007 year, 1.6, and yeah, there isn't much to really review on it like that. It's just a workhorse car. There isn't really much personality going on there. It's certainly not the caviar of the road. It's not posh. But if someone's looking into having a people carrier and they're looking at Vauxhall Zafiras, well, obviously you're in the right place. There'll be other reviews out there as well. This is mine. This is a personal choice, a personal opinion. Some people will disagree with what I'm saying. Some people will see where I'm coming from. It's just one of them reviews. I'm going to score it out of 100, like I did on my Mini. The reason why I score out of 100 is, well, everyone can see it coming out of 10. Everyone can see that. It's so predictable. Plus, it's not exactly accurate. I mean, if you add more notes onto it, then it's more precise, your score. You know, if I did it out of 1,000 and gave it 876, you know where you pretty much know where you're standing. So I'm going to do it out of 100, and you kind of know where you stand then. Yeah, so let's get to the car. I've left some pictures up exactly what it looks like. And yeah, the next time you see me, I'll be in the driver's seat, I would have thought. Okay, so let's review this damn thing. Cool. Oh, I've done a bit of work to it as well. It's the same car as where you see me do the brakes. It's the exact same car as that. It literally is that car. So when I review the brakes, it is actually a review on new brakes and new discs and new everything, new fluid, the lot. So I'm not surprised the brakes are good. Okay? Cool. All right, let's get into it and review this damn thing. Cheers. So, the ride height is quite high, but that's expected. This is a people carrier after all. This isn't a Lamborghini or anything like that. The ride height on the Mini is very, very low compared to this Zafira. The steering, well, it's a very silent power steering pump. You cannot hear a single thing, which is great. That's a good thing. Okay, where the hell was I? The sticky pad gave way, didn't it? Anyway, good old GoPros. Where was I? Gear stick. Yeah, the gear stick's really short. The travel from any gear is next to no travel at all. It's literally bang, bang, bang. And it's quite high too. I mean, it's quite like towards the firewall kind of area. That's the gear stick positioning. The dash, to be honest, for 2007, it's laid out quite futuristic, I would say. I would use that word. It's laid out quite nice. And then you're let down a little bit by how dull and depressing and very, very simple the dials are. We'll have a look at that in a minute anyway. Very, very dull. Looking at you. Not quite sure what it's like at night, mind you, but it will take some beating to beat the Mini on that one. The dials on the Mini are gorgeous. Anyway, this is Vauxhall. What I find quite irritating, but it's only because I'm not used to it, is how the indicators work. The indicators don't seem to click. When you
when you operate the indicators, they move up, but they go back to like the central position, a little bit like a motorbike. I don't know if any of you have used indicators on a motorbike, but you kind of push it and it centers itself, and then you've got to kind of reset it when you're done. It's a strange indicator on these Zafiras. Again, 2007, if you're wondering. When I'm driving this, I do feel like I'm driving a very, very timid truck, but it's the feeling is gonna be like that. This is a people carrier. I feel like I've got a rugby team in the back or something like that. I'm carrying a load of people, and there's the indicator. It's really strange. I don't like that indicator. Yeah, really weird. Because it's not staying up or down where you're going left and right. It's just centralising straight away. But I suppose that's something that you get used to. So where the lights are, it's typical Vauxhall. It's your high beam and your low beam, all on the right hand side here. To be honest, I kind of dig that a bit. It's you know where you stand with Vauxhall when it comes to lights. They're all in the same place. They're all the same kind of thing. So as for build quality on this, I've worked a little bit on it, but not an extensive amount. The build is really strange to me. It does remind me of the 3008 on the Peugeot, where everything, if not most of it, under the bonnet is attached to the variable. It's under the dash, like everything. Like you want to fill up your .4 fluid, for example, your brakes. It's all underneath. It's all hidden. Now I don't know why Vauxhall didn't bring everything forward towards the front of the car so you can actually get to stuff. Really strange placement on that. It's not really a big hindrance, but I don't know. It's a questionable option or a decision that they made. Zafira. So brakes. I'm using them right now. The brakes are actually really nice, to be fair. This one, as you've seen on my video, has had new brakes fitted, brake lines bled, etc, etc. Calipers are quite good. I can't knock the brakes on this car. I really can't. They're really nice. They're really smooth and progressive. They're not bitey, and you know what I mean by bitey, as in when you push the brakes, they don't go bang. They are very smooth, and they respond to your foot, which is always a good thing. Going back to the ride height, I do feel really, really high in this. Obviously everything's adjustable. The windscreen is massive, and it's borderline coming up to my head. The windscreen is. It just goes on forever. It's going to feel like that to me because the Mini kind of just stops dead. It's kind of like a little window on the Mini. So yeah, this is a massive difference between a compact car like a Mini and a people carrier like a Zafira. So yeah, that's definitely a thing. This is a 1.6 if I recall, and the acceleration is not the best, but it's typical. It's typical of the engine size and the torque and the weight that it's carrying as well. It's carrying a lot of ass. And I can only imagine what it's like with 7 people in here. It would be very, very sluggish, I would have thought, but it would still obviously do the job. It being a people carrier, we're not looking for speed, we're not looking for looks and class, we're looking for reliability and usability, if you will. We're looking for, can it do the job? And well, yeah, Zafira's been doing the job for years. I actually did own a Zafira years ago, a 2003 model, I think it was. I didn't like it, but it did do the job. Oh, there's the brakes. They are very good, but they have been serviced. So the clutch on this is where it gets interesting. The clutch on most cars, I would say, is cable clutch. Everything's simple, blah blah blah. This has got a hydraulic clutch. Now again, this is all to do a little bit like the indicators, really. It's everything to do with what you're used to, and I just can't get used to this hydraulic clutch. It feels like it's just not connected to anything. It feels like it's floating in mid-air. It's really strange. I don't like it. And as you can hear by my engine revs, I can't quite get the biting point because there's no feedback. There's no feedback from the clutch whatsoever. But I don't know. It's probably more reliable, mind, than a cable on a clutch. But it feels really weird. It feels like it's just floating in midair, and I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't give me any feedback, which then in turn doesn't really give me much confidence where the biting point is, where the drive is being engaged. Yeah, not a fan of that, to be honest. Okay, so to the steering wheel. It looks a little bit like Transformers, to be honest. Transformers kind of style. It's got curves when there doesn't need to be curves. They've tried to complicate it and make it look good, and they haven't succeeded. It's a bit ugly. And I've never been a fan of the Vauxhall badge. It kind of just stares at you here. That dragon or whatever it is. Very dull colour. Everything's just grey. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a steering wheel. There's nothing. They haven't really gone to town with any of the designs on the wheel. The dash is okay, but when it comes to in your face, it's all very dull. Like I said, the dials are dull. Steering wheel's dull. But again, this is all about practicality with Zafiras. Yeah, they're just for practical use only, I think. Okay, so to the handbrake. This is a big difference as well. This is hilarious. Every car with a handbrake, a manual handbrake, that is not the electrical ones, have a central stick that you hold like this and you pull. We all know them. They're all common, and yeah, everyone knows those kind of handbrakes. Little button in the centre. These Zafiras, the 2007 models, they've took the piss. They have like a tugboat kind of handle here. It's insane. We'll take a look at it in a minute when I go around with the camera. It's a massive handle, guys. What's the handbrake made out of? It's insane. It's literally like an emergency handle. Oh, well, I suppose it's an e-brake, I suppose. Then they've took it to the extreme. Yeah, not sure. Not sure on that. It's ugly. It's massive. It doesn't need to be that big. But it's original. I haven't really come across many cars with this bloody great handle. We'll look at it in a minute. But yeah, I haven't ever seen a handbrake quite so big as the Zafira, and it has a button on the side as well. Luckily, it's not the other side, but it's the driver's side. The button's on the driver's side, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's alright. So I'm just concentrating here a minute. I'm on just next to the main road, so it's a bit busy. Wing mirrors are placed where wing mirrors should be, so we're not going to go into detail with that. See, right then I had to cancel the indicator, so I'd had to give it a bit of a shove in the middle, so the indicator could turn off. Really strange. As I always do with a review, and I'll try and get hold of as many cars as I can. But with the mini review, I gave it a score out of 100. I give this Zafira, after I go through the suspension on the back, which is unusual too, for me anyway. The car overall is good. It will do the job. It will carry the people. It will carry the sofas and whatever you've got to go. It will do all that, and it will do it without style. But it's not about style. So we've got to kind of forget that we're trying to look good here, and we're just doing the job. So I'm going to have to try to put that aside. So I'm actually figuring out the score literally here and now, because I haven't actually thought of a number yet. I'm kind of calculating it. Again, this is a personal opinion. I'll give the Zafira 2007 me 70. It's pretty high, I would say. 70 for me anyway. For a people carrier, I'd say 70. That's not including style. If I had to give a score for style, it'd be right down to about 25. Like it's really not stylish. It's really not. I don't feel good driving it. It's not the caviar of the road, but there's many uses for it. So if we're thinking about that way, then yeah, it's a 70. So we'll go with the 70 out of 100 for the Zafira Vauxhall. Yeah, going to the suspension just before I deliver it back to where it lives. The suspension has an interesting engineering side to it. The dampener and the rebound shock is in a different place to the spring. And there's me not getting used to the hydraulic clutch again. Yeah, it has a different place. The spring and the dampener are in two different places. They're next to each other. You'll see them both. But it's very not unusual, but it's Vauxhall being different again. The rear suspension has its own design, its own ideas. So yeah, here we are where it lives. And yeah, let's take a quick look around the car. This is a tiny bit messy, but whatever. And I'll show you what I mean by the dials and the handbrake and the gear stick and the steering wheel. And well, the drive does feel quite solid. The suspension's soft. Brakes are good. And yeah, 70 out of 100, guys. Zafira 2007. Let's take a look. Okay, so it's not going to be any good me explaining everything without you seeing it. My driving experience then was pretty good, to be fair. For a people carrier, it's not too bad. So, what I meant by you can never fail with the lights. They're always here on Vauxhalls. Your normal and your full beam. You can't go wrong with the swivel dials. Everybody can use them. Simple. The steering wheel, as you can see, is absolutely bloody boring. It nearly sends me to sleep. But you know, it steers the wheels. That's what it's there for. Nothing really to report. It's so boring. Along with the dials, nothing to report here. It's boring. There's no digital dial for coolant temperature, which is interesting. So Vauxhall couldn't be asked with that. That's a bit strange. I'm presuming it kind of shows you the temperature on the oh, not the. One sec. Try to do this with two hands. There we go. Yeah, so we got the mileage and the distance travelled, and that's it. Yeah, that's pretty bad, I think. 40, yeah. I don't know where the coolant temperature is. This is pretty bad. Bit unusual, but there you go. Again, the information feedback from this car is minimum. That's where it didn't score 100 with me. That's for sure. If we just went on feedback, it'd be like 6 out of 100. Excuse all the carbon fibre and the massive great tablet here. It's all been rigged up. But in this area there is a radio. Everything's pretty boring. I like this bit. This is alright. There's some good feedback there, I would say, and it's really quite. It's looking really quite nice and neat there. But then it goes this way and this way, and it gets really boring. It gets very Vauxhall. There's nothing to report. Not really. The gear stick, as I said, in a good place. It's really nice. I like where it is. Quite short as well, which I kind of like. The travel, you're travelling very minimum. Unlike, for example, like a Matiz, the gear stick's really quite tall. So you're travelling like a truck, you know. But no, this is good. This is a good thing. As for this, this is the handbrake, guys. What the hell? That's the handbrake. I mean, I actually do feel like I'm dropping an anchor on the Titanic. That's insane. But hey ho, you're never going to slip off, I suppose, are you? I mean, with the single one, you could slip. You're never going to slip off this. Jesus. I don't know what that is, to be honest. That's crazy. But hey ho, you know, whatever. Look at it. Look at it. It's like the Starship Enterprise kind of, or a fighter jet, you know. Go down and up. Crazy, crazy stuff. Anyway, we'll quickly look around the car on the outside now. So, this is the rear. I mean, bloody great Vauxhall badge, but it's a bloody great car, so kind of adds up, really. Go down the sides. It's in your typical blue. Bloody great Vauxhall badge again. The grills are quite small, I would say, actually, for a bigger car, but the headlights are massive. And to the back, and the boot space of the back is spacious as hell. Really quite spacious. Just excuse all this. Really a lot of leg room for the passengers, and then obviously you can take these down, and a lot of room in the back as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people. I mean, it just goes on. You can literally have a rugby team in this thing. It just goes on forever. I mean, if you had a roof rack as well, you'd be laughing. So yeah, 70 out of 100 Zafira. Positives are the brakes, the gear changing, seating position and windscreen. Negatives are hydraulic clutch, but this is just me. The indicators and how boring everything is, and maybe the handbrake. But yeah, it's one boring car, but it does do the job. It can do more than my Mini. Let's be honest. Okay, cool. So that is the review on the Vauxhall Zafira 2007. But I will quickly mention there is a warning that goes out for these. Now, several of these around the world have caught fire. Literally caught fire under the airbag area from the passengers, the passenger well. It's all to do with your heater. So I hear, if you have the aircon on full blast or something like that, I don't know. Leave comments if you know more details about it, but they can literally catch fire. Smoke would first come from the passenger side, burn through the firewall. Literally, it's called a firewall for a reason on these, and go up in smoke, literally like an inferno. There was a recall. They've redesigned several thousand million of them, but I bet you £100,000 that there is more still out there that hasn't been in the recall, but they will be okay. I will say that some of them will be okay, but do you want to take that risk is the thing. So yeah, they do catch on fire, which isn't good. So yeah, that comes with a warning. Look it up if you want. They do catch on fire. So maybe 70 is too high. But yeah. Cheers, guys. Okay, so in regards to checking the coolant of the engine, I'm just going to start the car with one of these. This is a OBD advanced reader, which is basically it just communicates with the ECU that's in your car. If you've got a port like this anywhere in your car, sometimes they're in the footwell or underneath the dash. This one's in a convenient place, which is great. All you do is literally just plug your OBD reader into the port like this. This is a ridiculous way, by the way, Vauxhall, to check your coolant. Check your coolant temperature. It should be as default on your dash, by the way, but whatever. And then we connect it to the OBD reader, which is now turning on. It's got lights lighting up. So what I'll do is I'll turn the ignition on the car, and we'll start it up because it needs power to operate. Okay. So you can see when I rev the engine, you see the revs there? Hang on 1 second. There we go. So I'll rev the engine now. Okay. So this thing is connected to the ECU, as you can see. So the only way to check the temperature on this car is to go to this screen, which is absolutely ludicrous, Vauxhall. It should be on your dash. It's absolutely insane. I don't know why it's not on your dash, but like I said in my review, it's boring. Your dash is boring. It's not feedback enough, and it would score more than 70 if it had some more feedback. What is going on? Anyway, so as you can see, the coolant is on 83, which is, well, the optimum temperature is probably about 90, I would say, maybe just under. So everything's fine, it's good, but how would you know without your phone? That's the thing. It's impossible to know. So we got real-time information, which is basically what I've just been on. But yeah, this is the reader, and it just connects to your phone via Bluetooth. It's well worth the money. You can get them for, well, I don't know, under £10, I think, some of them. And it's instant, as you can see by the revs there again. Acceleration is obviously not happening at the minute because I'm not moving. But yeah. Any fault codes that come up, so if you have an engine management light, you just type on the fault codes, and obviously there is none at the minute. But you would just look up the fault codes on maybe Google or something. You can run tests on your car. But yeah, the main reason why I'm showing you this is, one, because what an OBD reader does and what the ports look like. And another reason is the fact that this is the only way on this Zafira 2007, the only way you can actually read the coolant. And now it's on 90. Revs, as you can see, is jumping around about 780, 800. It's a little bit unsettled. Let's see how it settles after I rev it. Yeah, I've seen worse. It's holding a little bit higher now. But yeah, this is a really good app. And obviously now the coolant's gone down only 1 degree or 2 degree now. But yeah, this is the way I'm doing it. It's absolutely ludicrous. But that is the way to communicate. The way to communicate with your ECU. If your car has no feedback whatsoever, like this Zafira does. Okay, cool. I thought I'd catch that on this anyway. So yeah, there you go. Just take that out. So yeah, that's what it is. Obviously there is different types. There's ones with leads, there's massive ones. I could probably show you one, but I don't know where it is. But yeah, that's what the port is. Sometimes the port is underneath there. Underneath there. On different cars, just depends on the car really. Alright guys, cool.
Every single day